Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Hines on Air, your weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and real-life entrepreneurial stories. I'm Matt Hines, your host, and I'm excited to have you join me on this journey. From building a successful law firm to venturing into other industries like real estate and social media, I've experienced both the triumphs and the challenges that come with entrepreneurship. I've learned firsthand the importance of resilience, adaptability, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. On Hines on Air, we're diving deep into the world of business, law, and personal growth. Join me as I chat with incredible guests who have faced adversity, defied expectations, and achieved extraordinary success. We'll discuss their strategies, their mindset, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply someone looking for a little inspiration, Hines on Air is for you. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave a review whenever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us reach more people and continue sharing these incredible stories. Let's get started. This program is being sponsored by Bravos Leadership. Bravos Leadership is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and other business-minded people achieve their goals in business and expand their companies. They provide insight through motivational talks, inspirational stories, but also practical applications of management techniques that you can use to help you grow your company. Information regarding sales, organization, management, and all areas of the company are taught so that you can have a thriving company. Visit bravosleadership.com and find out more information. Hey everybody, it's Matt Hines back with another Hines on Air, and I think this is going to be a rather unique and very interesting episode. All right, so we have an expert on the program here. This is Michael Keresman. He has been an expert in technology and inventions. He himself holds 200 patents. So he's seen a lot, he's learned a lot, he's experienced a lot, and he's going to share some of this knowledge with us today. So listen, Michael, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Matt. Good afternoon or morning, depending on where you are on the planet. Or as someone once said, it's probably 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right.
Anyway, it's good to be here. I'm actually honored and flattered to be here. You have such a strong following and a well-received podcast.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Where are you, by the way? We're in Atlanta, Georgia.
In my office.
In what city?
Sorry. I have a terrible sense of humor, and after you get to know me, you'll learn to ignore it. So Cleveland, Ohio, where we have terrible weather here, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's terrible here. We get rain every day. All right, good, man. So before the program started, you and I started on the topic of like inventions and stuff, and I had read to you something I was reading about, what all you've done, and it says that you have stories which challenge our perceptions of where tech breakthroughs can occur and remind us of the unsung heroes behind our digital world. So, we were talking about some of the things that you had done, and it also sounds like you've either studied or worked with some of the other people that have made some pretty remarkable discoveries or progress in these areas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at my website, it's mak@3x3ventures.com. And how we came up with that name is, and I'm married, 3 lovely daughters. So we help develop 3 companies, 3 entrepreneur settings, and we have 3 wonderful daughters. And the older I get, the second 3 is more important than the first 3. So, I'm going to give a couple real breakthrough things that happened. One I was very not involved with, one I was very involved with. So the first one, when I was a co-founder of a company called Steris, which made the first rapid low-temperature sterilization system for minimally invasive procedures. Sterilization heretofore was done by high-pressure, high-temperature steam or gas. And if you think about an endoscope, fiber optic thing that goes in one of your orifices, they're delicate, fragile, and heat-sensitive, and you just can't bake it. You end up with a very expensive pile of goo.
Yeah.
So a scientist, Ray Kralovic, recognized the problem before anyone else. You got the engineers coming up with these wonderful, fantastic medical devices, but no way to clean them, no way to sterilize them. And if you think about a long tube, think about cleaning out your garden hose. Really, the only way to do that is flow liquid through there. So Ray Kralovic, with Bill Sanford, the leader, created the first rapid low temperature sterilization system designed to be used at or near the site of patient care. And basically, it was a liquid process that could flow through all the lumens of that. If you think about some of the scopes are only that big, but the scopes that go up your south side are about 6 foot long. So, you have to be able to go at that. So the real challenge of inventing is stating or recognizing the problem. In fact, if this is a patent office thing, stating the problem correctly is the foundation of a patent. And that's the important thing. What problem are you trying to solve?
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward, we, at Cardinal Commerce, we were in the world of, we wanted to validate or authenticate consumers. There was a lot of fraud. Nobody knew. This was the early days. And so how can you, validate the entities? And so, we came up with a solution, and I went to, we're in our office whiteboarding, and I said, so how are we going to get the solution to merchants? What are they going to do? And then the guy said, we'll make a CD and we'll send it to them and tell them to put it in their system. And we were a startup early stage company. And I said, no self-respecting merchant is going to let a little expletive company out of Cleveland, Ohio, put a piece of software behind their main buying engines. So how can we effectively get a transaction, do what we needed to do with it without interfering with the merchants or the bank's systems? And so what we did was we created something called a thin client. Instead of, giving software to someone and say, put it inside, send us a transaction any which way you have it. We'll be able to digest it, translate it, format, message, route it. We would say we can take any transaction from the right place, any place to the right place in the right way. As a matter of fact, that thin client is the very first, and to my knowledge, the only business method patent granted in Europe. And again, it's the idea of, rather than telling your customers to change their system, or here, put this piece of software in and digest it. So simply put, when you go to buy something online and you hit the buy button, okay, the merchant starts to process that. They're trying to validate who you are. You probably entered 300 or 400 pieces of information, and when you bought something, your email address, your zip code, etc. The bank has similar information, but there was no way to compare what the bank had with what the merchant had in real time, except through our system at Cardinal. And that thin client, we used to call it ASP. Now it's, all kind of different words, in the clouds or whatever. So we could then take that information, compare it to the bank, and the bank can just give us thumbs up and say, yep, that really is Matt Hines, and tell the merchant, go ahead and sell. So, a lot of it was designed to eliminate fraud, but unfortunately, or fortunately for us, fraud is not necessarily the biggest problem. It's turning away really good customers. So anytime you go online to buy something, you have your own habits, and, you might say somebody who's buying 3 very expensive watches at one time. That's fraud. Well, unless you're a very wealthy guy and that's your normal buying habit. And what happens is, when the consumer is disenfranchised, if you can't buy something at one merchant, what do? You go to another merchant. So all that loyalty built up with that merchant is gone. Mike Keresman went to John Smith jeweler for 10, 15, 20 years. Now I can't buy anything from John Smith jeweler, so I'm going to go to Wilbur Allen's jeweler or whatever. Similar with the bank, you've got the fancy bank cards, platinum, all that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of loyalty, and that bank has spent a ton of money to keep you as a customer. And you're going to be loyal to that bank with one assumption, that your card works.
Yeah, that's right.
If it doesn't work, well, I got another one. And the strange thing that happens is, it would really rankle the banks, is, my credit card A that I use all the time in the face-to-face world, all of a sudden I can't use it online. I go to my credit card B, use that online. All of a sudden that displaces the first card, and that becomes my primary card. So my primary relationship went from Bank of America to Chase, or Chase to Union Bank, or X, or to Y or Z. So back to your question, understanding what the problem is, how do we get this very good, clever invention in the hands of merchants and banks? And the answer is we really couldn't. But send us a transaction, we'll digest it, translate it, format, route it, and get it from any place to the right place in the right way without you having to do much. As a consumer.
What years are we talking about here, Michael? When was this?
Late 90s, 99, 90, in early 2000s. I think their patent, I'm going to say our patent was 2002, I think, maybe 2003.
Okay. And so if I wanted to buy something online and I entered my card number and put my address and all that kind of stuff, what would it look for that would detect fraud? If I put the correct address and it was the card number and it was the security code and all that kind of stuff, what are the other variables?
There are a lot of fraud systems. So you have two fraud systems. You have a merchant fraud system. This would be without Cardinal. Merchant has its own fraud system. And let me go back a half step. The retail world is divided in two. There are commercial banks, retail banks, the ones you've heard about. They do all the advertising on TV. The merchants have the banks. And those are called the acquirer. They actually buy the transaction from the merchant at a discount and, go through all the financial supply chain to get it to Chase, JP Morgan Chase. So what happens is, think of a matrix that you've got a merchant fraud system done by their processing, acquiring bank, and an issuing bank. And either one could say thumbs down and the transaction doesn't work. So if you put in everything correctly, first of all, if you go to the same merchant all the time and buy similar things, like you're buying garbage bags online, you do that every other month, that's easy. But you step out and you do something you haven't done, or it's an extra large purchase, flags start to go up. Are you using the same PC? There's some sophistication. And so, I know I have a place in Florida, and it always takes me a while to get everything in sync because it says, oh, warning, there's a new IP address. It's not this model, it's that model of a computer, et cetera, et cetera. So it raises flags. I actually had to get a credit card, and not everybody uses Cardinal Commerce, but I actually had to get a credit card in Florida because there's certain merchants in Florida that will not take an Ohio credit card. They don't, local pizza place or something like that. So they're looking, where are you? If you're put in your correct name and address, but you're from Bangkok, you might have a hard time getting it.
Gotcha. So is it using AI at all?
The bank has its own system.
Yeah. Is this AI stuff that it's using, or are they just kind of, I don't know how prevalent AI was back in 99.
I wouldn't. So, sometimes people I'm only blocking because, what some people refer to AI, we've been doing that for years.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And it's kind of like, that's artificial intelligence.
Right.
And, I kind of cringe a bit because, someday I'm going to make a phone call to a large company and they're not going to ask me what language I speak. Push 1 if it's this, push 2. If that's what AI is, it ain't very good.
This program is being sponsored by Bravos Leadership. Bravos Leadership is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and other business-minded people achieve their goals in business and expand their companies. They provide insight through motivational talks, inspirational stories, but also practical applications of management techniques that you can use to help you grow your company. Information regarding sales, organization, management, and all areas of the company are taught so that you can have a thriving company. Visit bravosleadership.com and find out more information.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a, yeah, I got you.
Well,
you're okay. So, again, we're picking up, on the merchant side, 400 pieces of data and compare it to the bank. And it's a simple match. If your zip code is 1234 and the bank has 1234, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's easy to compare.
Right.
So, and the bank has a profile about you. And if it gets strange, so another thing, I have a place in Florida here in Cleveland, and oftentimes I'll replicate my buying. So I'm picking in, let's just say I wanted a new exercise piece of equipment. So it's not something you can put on a plane on your back, So I'll order it in Cleveland, then I go to Florida, and maybe it just happened to be that 2 weeks go by and order it there. They go, "Is this you? Why would you order two?"
Yep. Gotcha.
So,
Understood.
The real question is identifying the problem, and it doesn't. So there's a book we wrote, Encrypting Billions, which talks a lot about the three different ventures that we participated in. We helped create the first statewide HMO network in the country. Steros had the first rapid low temperature sterilization system. And then Cardinal Commerce had the first remote authentication system in the world. And Visa ended up buying Cardinal. That's not a bad brand to have by the way.
No doubt.
Good for you. All right, when you say in your description, you say the unsung heroes behind our digital world. Is that what you and your group were doing, or is that referencing Steve Jobs or something? Like, who is that?
Yes, yes. And to that point, Matt, we're maybe a month out from publishing a new book, and it's called Quietly Spectacular. There's a lot of books written for the next Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or what have you, but most of us aren't those guys. And we go quietly to create wealth, become an entrepreneur. Sometimes that opportunity isn't a $1 billion deal; it's a multi-$10 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have the best corner barbershop in the country.
Right.
And, to me, those are the heroes of the world, and particularly America. They make things happen. The guy who has a tire shop on the corner where you get a flat tire is a hero.
Yeah, that's right.
And, I went to my grandson's baseball game, and I noticed that the sponsor on the shirt was a window washing company. I said, by golly, we need our windows washed. So after the game, I got his number, and he's got a window washing company. That's what I mean by quietly spectacular. And he doesn't wash windows. He's got a team that does it.
Just kind of salute to the working man out there.
Aren't we all? I mean, that's kind of what the good part of life's about. And it's I like to think that part of that is a term that might seem strange to use on a podcast, self-actualization. When you reach that point in your life where work and effort and fulfillment seem to blend together, to me, that's self-actualized. It's not, I look at my Van Gogh. I think it's more of fulfilling your own dreams. I think the trap is aspiring to someone else's dreams.
Right. Right.
when we set out with this thing called Cardinal Commerce, my partners, Tim Sherwin and Chandra Balasubramanian, we were considered pariahs. One of the things is we were going to be the man in the middle. The financial service industry hate the idea that there's somebody in the middle that does anything. We had, security people say that's another vulnerability. We went to MasterCard. I probably should have said that way, but, we were talking to the president of MasterCard, and she said emphatically, there is no fraud on the internet. And it's guys like you that perpetrate that fallacy. And people are starting to believe it. And there is no fraud. Well, that was probably not true.
Wow.
So
someone at MasterCard said that?
Maybe it wasn't MasterCard. Maybe it was Card Master or something.
Yeah. Ha. Interesting. That's interesting. All right. Well, listen, that's some fascinating information. To me, I'm assuming you've seen the movie Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, I do too. And then and the guy behind that Leo DiCaprio was playing, after he got caught and all, started advising people on how to create systems to stop what he was doing, which, I don't know, after seeing that, it got me interested in the area. It's kind of fascinating.
Well, there's, someone asked me a lot about, fraud and, why people are doing it. And what about these, I'm going to pick on Iowa, if you had a successful merchant in Main Street in Dubuque, Iowa, it's relatively safe. Well, now if you're online, everybody can have access to that web store on Main Street in Dubuque, Iowa. And, why do people do that? And I would answer, I think as Wee Willie Keeler was asked, why did he rob banks? Because that's where the money is.
That's funny.
So, we're open, there aren't perhaps more bad guys. Maybe they are by number because the world's so much bigger.
Yeah.
But now you have, bad guys don't have to wear a mask and a gun to stick you up. They are in their garage typing on their keys and telling you that they're a Nigerian prince that has all this money, just give that he needs to get out of the country, or you have an unpaid parking ticket, even though you're never in that state. People panic and pay.
That's right, they do. IRS agents, quote unquote, calling to collect. Yeah. They got creative. I give them credit. They're very, I'll be wiring money out or discussing the wire, and then a day later, I'll get wiring instructions from a Nigerian or wherever he is, and it's good. I mean, it's very creative. I have to give them credit.
Well, really scary on your phone is if you ever, someone you call somebody and they say, "Can I have your phone number?" And they can spoof a phone number to make it look like somebody you know.
Yeah.
Or a government official or a government agency.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So,
wow. All right,
be careful there.
Yeah. All right, well, Michael, listen, man, there's some fascinating stories. And congratulations on all you've seen and accomplished. That's amazing.
Well, thank you very much. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance, we'll get our book out shortly. Quietly Spectacular.
Quietly Spectacular. So when do you predict it'll be out?
I'm going to say in a month.
Oh, real soon. Okay, good.
Yeah. I've got the proofreading it, the penultimate version, perhaps, and seeing how it goes. So, yeah.
Great. Well, congrats to you. That's no easy feat to finish a book. It's on my bucket list, but I don't know when that'll happen. But
you're good, Matt. You've got quite a following. You blessed you.
All right. Well, listen, Michael. Thank you again for your time, and congrats to you. And everybody else, listen, we appreciate you joining Hines on Air. If you haven't already, click the like button and share this episode, and we'll see you at the next Hines on Air.
This program is being sponsored by Law Offices of Matthew C. Hines. The Law Offices of Matthew C. Hines helped all individuals who have been involved in a car accident, who have been injured at work, or have been arrested or given tickets. We make sure your rights are protected and that you receive all the benefits allowed under the law. Visit us at www.hineslaw.org, hineslaw.org. Hines On Air is for you. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave a review whenever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us reach more people and continue sharing these incredible stories.